everyone, it's Ella with Beating Type 1. In this video, I'm going to showing you guys how to set up your TPN infusion. So, sorry about not the greatest angle, but I gotta film this all in one shot. So, here we go. The first thing you want to do is you're going to wash your hands really well. Make sure you're following aseptic technique as instructed by your healthcare provider. I am not a healthcare provider yet, and I won't be one for a very long time. This is just disclaimer. This is not to replace what your personal training and healthcare providers have provided. This is just a refresher. But also, if you're someone who is new to TPN and you're feeling very overwhelmed, I know it can be very, very, very overwhelming at first. But trust me, it's not as hard as you think you can. You really can do this. I have TPN because I have severe gastroparesis, which prevents me from being able to eat and drink by mouth very well. And so I'm not able to maintain adequate nutrition due to my very limited, little to no PO intake. PO is for oral by mouth. So for my nutrition, I rely on my TPN, which is an acronym for Total Parenteral Nutrition. It is infused through my central line. This is a port. It is a power port, BARD, and it is accessed every week with a 1-inch 20-gauge needle, and that is how I administer all my stuff. So let's get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do, if you haven't already, is also your pumps may vary company to company. This is a Curlin pump. I have used a CAD in the past. It was a nightmare. It was very hard for I had a hard time with the dexterity struggles. So we switched to Curlin, and I'm like loving this so much better. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure you have a fresh set of batteries. I just put these in this morning, so they are still good to go. Next thing is you just want to, do a inspection of your pump and make sure everything looks well, and it does. All right, now you're going to want to remove, these are your multivites, so these have to get drawn up and then injected into the TPN. Then the syringe to do that with, and of course the tubing, and of course the TPN itself. So the first thing I always do is I try and have a garbage bag just set up to the side so that I can just, as I do stuff, I can throw it right away. So I'm going to start by opening an alcohol wipe just like that. I'm going to touch that part of the wipe, flip off the first cap, and go ahead and do this for a solid 15 seconds. Okay, then I'm going to put that and toss this right into the waste bag. Now I'm going to take the second additive, flip the top off just like that, and I'm going to toss that right into the waste bag. Then I'm going to grab my next alcohol swab, and again following that aseptic technique, picking this up, second one, and we're going to scrub this for another 15 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. Now we're going to have the last spot where I'm going to remove the foil wrapping off the injection port of where I'll be injecting the TPN bag itself. So get that off. Now I'm going to take my next alcohol wipe, like so. I'm going to take the injection port on the TPN bag, and I'm going to give that a very strong wipe down for another 15 seconds. Almost, almost, almost. And there we go. Okay. I'm going to make sure that that area does not get touched since I've already sterilized it. Now you can go ahead and start drawing up your additives, your multivites. So I start with usually putting 3 to 4 cc's of air into the first vial. It does not matter what order you draw these up. It's just usually 1 white or 1 blue or whatever is trained and prescribed by your healthcare team. So 1 will be clear. The next one will be yellow. So I usually go up and down a little bit just to make sure everything's out. Okay. Now, because of the double thing policy, what I usually do is I will switch out the needle that I use to draw up the TPN additives and then put a fresh needle on before inserting it into the bag itself. Okay, I'm going to prime it, and then here we go. So I'm going to hold the bag right up and down. I'm going to be very careful. I'm going to make sure I insert straight so you don't poke a side or poke a hole in the side of the bag. So I'm going to power inject, and then I'm going to suck up again. And go ahead and power inject again. And the reason is you want to get the additives out of the injection port and into the bag. So I'll do usually 1 or 2 more times. Power inject and then pull right out. Then you're going to want to shake it up. Make sure you get it all distributed in there, all mixed up. And alright, so here we go. Now we are going to get ready to go ahead and spike the TPN bag. So you always want to make sure your tubing is intact, do a manual inspection, make sure everything looks normal, and you're good. You're going to want to watch your connection points. Okay, now we're going to pull this nubby, remove the top off the spike, grab the bag, go ahead and spike the bag. And go all the way in, just like that. Lay it down. You can prime through the pump, but I prefer to do a manual prime because it's a lot easier. So I will put the bag down and apply pressure, and the bag will auto prime. So we're going and priming and priming and a priming and a prime. So you'll see it, there it comes, up the white tubing there. And there it's at the top. And there you go, drip. Alright, now, so that it does not continue to prime, we're going to remove this piece. You're going to put the yellow into the yellow end and the curlin. And you're going to put the blue in that end. And you're going to close the, they call this, sometimes they call it arm, sometimes they call it door. It depends on what terminology your specific thing uses. So, okay, so here we go. Now we're just gonna go ahead and power up the pump. I'm gonna hit program. I'm gonna go down to repeat RX. Hit yes. Then we're gonna do just a little bit of priming for the pump. Alright. All set. Yep. I'm gonna hit yes. And then at this point, oops, sorry guys. This point is when you grab your last alcohol wipe and you go ahead and hook right on up. So you're going to want to make sure, even if you are using swab caps, you still want to do good practice and make sure you scrub your cleave properly for, again, at least 15 seconds. Okay. I'm gonna connect right on up. Just pull that right out. Put that right on. Twist it tight. Make sure your clamps are open. So I'm gonna open this clamp. This one will stay clamped because I don't hook up my hydration for another hour. And then I hit run. And we're good. Alright. So now I'm going to go put this contraption all in my bag, and from there we'll carry on with the rest of my night. So as you guys can see, it's pretty simple. Having the mat layout definitely does help. It's not necessary per se, but it definitely just makes the whole process just a lot easier, especially when you're new to it. So as you can see, guys, you can totally do this. This is something you can manage. I know it might be scary, but it's really something that you can do. You can totally do this. So if you have any questions or comments or thoughts or concerns, please feel free to leave a comment below. And if you want to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.